Hello again, back again, and yeah, several videos this week. Way too much to edit, so most of this crap is not going to be edited very well. And I mean, you guys don't care, I don't care. Let's just bang this out. Diaz Brothers update, and this is as much as I can dig up, and I've been doing a lot of digging, man. Trust me, not just Google either. The underground and a couple other places and a couple other people I've talked to. Um, Trying to figure out what's going on with either Nate or Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz, I know, had an offer to actually in 2013 to fight for the UFC, both of which fell through for absolutely ridiculous reasons. A fight was offered to Diaz, an unknown opponent, and from what I hear through the grapevine, it was Josh Koscheck or Damian Maia. Both of them were nixed from the UFC 163 card. I forget which one was hurt, but one of them was offered to Nick Diaz, and Cesar Gracie did not like it. He didn't like it for the time being. And then the highly, more highly publicized would be Nick moving up to middleweight to fight Lyoto Machida, who would be dropping down from light heavyweight. That's a very interesting fight. When I think of my top five guys in mixed martial arts, I think Nick Diaz, Nate Diaz, Lyoto Machida, John Jones, and Uriah Faber. So that's to me, wow. Yeah. I mean, Nick goes forward, Lyoto fights backwards. Lyoto's karate, Nick's boxer. It's the only thing they have, in common at all is a solid ground game. And Nogueira Jiu-Jitsu is very, very different from Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. It just seems to be, I don't want to say not as effective, but not as world class. That's just what it seems like. Dana nixed that idea, and he said, quote unquote, "I'm going to throw Joe under the bus right now. That was Joe Silva's idea, and it was a stupid one, and it was a bad idea." Interesting to note, though, this is a quote from Dana White, that Nick did not turn down the fight with Lyoto Machida. So he didn't say no. We don't know if he said yes, but he certainly did not say no. He was open to the idea of going to middleweight, as was Machida. Nick didn't turn down the fight. It was Dana White that nixed the fight. So, of course, the UFC is going to. Seems like they're losing interest in even getting, Nick, securing Nick a fight. He's losing his stock. The longer he's out, the Diaz brothers had quite a buzz going last year. No one knew who they were 3 years ago. Nobody knew who they were 3 years ago. I did, but the casual fan did not. And their stocks just skyrocketed. And the longer they sit out, it's just going to get worse and worse. Dana White called Nick Diaz a headache, and as soon as that fight was nixed, Tim Kennedy and Vitor Belfort took to Twitter immediately and said they were interested in fighting Machida if he comes down to 185. And the most I could dig up on Nate Diaz is he's still going up to the welterweight division. Here's why that's not good at all. He went up to the welterweight division before, and he fought Rory Markham and got him and knocked him out. Yeah, got a knockout. So he fights Marcus Davis. Marcus Davis, one of the better boxers at the time that they had on the UFC roster, fought him at 170 in Boston, in Marcus's hometown, and boxed him up. He had a hematoma the size of a fucking grapefruit hanging off of his face, and once it hit the ground, Nate with that 76-inch reach is able to lock up these sick chokes and choke Marcus out. And I think you can count 1, Mississippi 2, Mississippi 3, Mississippi, and it went on for 7 seconds. This tight. It was kind of like a no-arm Darce choke, kind of what Jens Pulver did to Cub Swanson WBC. Nate will be moving back up to welterweight regardless, and I can just see him getting tossed around. He fought Rory McDonald and got absolutely just tossed on his head. It was to a point where he was just getting tossed on his head every 2 seconds. Rory was picking him up, slamming on his head, and just picking him up literally from a seated position on the canvas, on the octagon, and then slamming him on his head again. Then started suplexing him. He's just not big enough. His frame just isn't built for look at George St. Pierre and look at Nate Diaz. They're just, the frame is not built for 170. I don't think. I think he fits perfect where he is at 155. Um, he said he's not. This is a quote from Nate. He said he's not hunting for the title right now in either weight class, not welterweight or lightweight. He said, I'm not hunting. I'm not on the title hunt right now, honestly. My boy's about to put it down and hold the belt for the next, I don't even know how long. I'm probably going to bail up out of this weight division as soon as this fight is done. I fought everybody at lightweight already, and by that fight, as soon as this fight is done, he meant Josh Thompson. According to Nate, his training partner, Gil Melendez, is going to quote-unquote handle current lightweight champion Ben Henderson in their rematch after he fights Diego Sanchez, and Benson Henderson gets his Showtime business over with. He said that Melendez will get a rematch, and he's going to handle him. I could certainly see that happening, but what about Nate at 170? I mean, who would even be his opponent? Comment. Who do you think you would like to see? I mean, most people are either Diaz fans or fucking don't like Diaz at all. So comment. Who do you want to see Nate Diaz fight at 170 pounds? First fight back, and he's not going to fight this year. It doesn't look like it. I have basically the roster for every fighter on every card until the New Year's card, and no Diaz brothers. So in the beginning of 2014, who would you like to see welcome Nate Diaz back to the welterweight division in the UFC? Say the cards in January. Pick an opponent, put it in the comment section, like, subscribe. That's the best I could do, guys. The Diaz updates. It's almost impossible to track these kids down. They're a headache for me. I can only imagine working with trying to put fights on and making sure these guys show up. It bums me out because the reason that I like mixed martial arts is because every now and again you get fighters like Faber, like Lyoto Machida, like John Jones, like Nick and Nate Diaz, like Kang Lee, that just have a style that only they can do. The Stockton slap, that style of boxing mixed with jiu-jitsu belongs to the Diaz brothers, and I don't think anyone else is even wired to handle that style of fighting. That's the style that they trust and believe in, and are super confident in, and it's very effective. It's very, very effective, but it has shown that it has its flaws. Kang Lee, you're going to see all sorts of spectacular kicks, spitting shit. Everything's hard. Everything's knockout. He's up there in age, and he looks spectacular. The older it gets, I mean, he's like the new Randy Couture, only he's just doing twirls. Lyoto Machida, there's a line out the fucking door, right out of Rio, straight into the fucking Atlantic Ocean to fight this guy. Apparently, he was robbed. Fight metric, and you can't argue with science. Confirmed that he was robbed, that he did win the fight. Actually, by a huge margin, he won the fight against Phil Davis at UFC 163. He's ripped off. That's on his record forever. I would like to see him compensated, do something for Machida. He was supposed to get a title shot after he knocked out Bader. He was supposed to get a title shot after he beat Henderson. He was supposed to get a title shot. It's just, it seems like Lyoto is getting the Showtime treatment, the Showtime Pettis treatment. There's guys lined up out the door to fight Machida. But these are people that do things, that do special things. They fight in a special way. They fight in a unique, technical, and they're technically sound in what they do, and only they can do it. I pay the pay-per-view to watch pay-per-view because Machida's on there, and you'll never see anybody fight like Machida can fight. You'll never see anybody fight the style that the Diaz brothers fight. You'll never see anybody fight like John Jones. You'll never see anybody fight. Do you understand? It's just the unique style and the technical aspects of them. That's what appeals to me. Uriah Faber was practically just a pure grappler in the WEC days, especially when he got his belt, King of the Cage. He was like a pure grappler, and once he learned how to strike, this guy's a Muay Thai machine. The way that he has one of the best push kicks in the game. And I mean, look at some of his victims. His last weekend, brutal beatdown of Alcantara. It was a phenomenal performance. You know, you're not going to see that. It's just a certain appeal and a certain what word am I looking for? Like just a certain enigma these guys have, and no one else has it. Anderson Silva has it. You know, George St. Pierre. I'd rather watch grass grow than watch George St. Pierre fight again. But you know, there's certain guys that have certain capabilities that no other fighters do. You know, and you don't see too much of it in the heavyweight division. Fedor had it, that style for sure, that spectacular style. Anything can happen anytime. John Jones has it. Machida, Faber definitely has a certain type of swag. And the Diaz brothers still, they stack up as some of the most unique, technically sound, stubborn, yet extremely tough guys. I can't wait to see them again. That's the latest update.